everybody.
Hey,
Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk.
if they could talk.
If these walls could talk today, here's what they would be saying. First of all, I'm Wendy Stuart.
And I'm Tym Moss.
And the walls would be talking because we normally broadcast on StreamYard and we also broadcast on YouTube and we broadcast
and
on
Facebook
Facebook and all of that. But it's a little different today because Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah, and it's kicking our butt today.
It's kicking our butt today. We're doing the best we can. So we are pre-recording on Zoom. But you know what? Before I get into our fabulous guests, because you're going to love who we have on today, Tim and I real quick are going to tell you about our lives.
Okay, I just got back. We had some show. We took 50 Shades of Gay out to Indianapolis, had some great shows. I got to see friends and family. I'm originally from Indiana. It was a wonderful time. I got back, literally got off the plane, grabbed a couple hours of sleep, and ran over with Wendy over to Jed Ryan's. We were shooting his film, Modest Male Exposure 2.
I know it sounds dirty. I would never do it dirty. Listen to you. My
It's
parents
not
were all
porn.
clean.
It's-
No, it's very low key and it's funny.
It's not porn,
It's
but
no, it's funny.
got a couple
It's
moments there.
not. No, it's just it's funny, right? Because we're comedians. We tell jokes.
yes.
But
very fun.
it was really funny, and you can stay tuned because we'll be doing screenings of that. Last night I saw the amazing Tammy Faye
Oh, I
and
love Tammy.
Barry Electric. She was incredible. She was there with her group Pretty Babies. They did Blondie. But I have to tell you, Tammy Faye she's not a cover artist. She actually channels the talent of whoever she is doing on that given night.
Yeah.
I've seen everything Tammy's
her
done. She's amazing.
persona.
Her
yeah, whatever
persona. She's done
she-
Marianne Faithfull. She's done Nico. She's done who's the
Oh God, the
Israeli girl who won the Euro
That
Trash
was
or the Euro
hysterical.
Trash, right? Musical. She is just so dynamic. And we, you know what? We support our friends. I brought a big group of people and we were all there to support Waggy Tail, which
And that was here at Pangea?
that was no, Barry Electric, which I've never been to before.
Valerie Electric.
Barry
Oh, yeah.
Electric. I have trouble
that was
saying
fun.
Barry.
That's
I
a
always
nice
had
place.
a big problem with the W and the R.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, enough about us because we're on borrowed time here.
Well,
We-
and also I just want to say I had a couple of auditions
Good.
for a couple
Fingers
different
crossed.
shows yesterday. I've already landed one of them.
Yeah.
And the other one is very interested. So they will be confirming on Friday,
And
but
good
it's highly likely.
Okay,
So
and you'll let us know.
I'll be
when
doing a
you're gonna
couple
be.
different shows. Yeah,
Right, and
exactly.
You'll let us know when you're where. Okay.
But speaking of Pangea and
Speaking of
performances,
Pangea and fabulous performers, I saw this person workshopping their act. I was told by a number of my friends, Libby Edwards in particular, you got to see him. You got to see him. I mean, who doesn't love a mashup of storytelling, stand-up, and subversive cabaret?
yeah,
In his new show, Stay Lost, it's a tribute to resilience and perseverance. And that is something that we all struggle with. It's a resilience. It's a perseverance. Please welcome here today on If These Walls Could Talk from Pangea, David Mills. Come on down. Yay. Okay, we're all
David.
together.
Hello.
I have to tell you, it's been unbelievably patient
yes, he has.
with us today. We are having StreamYard difficulties.
So
Who knows?
we're doing a Zoom.
Yes,
Yes.
we're doing a
So
Zoom.
thank you for your patience.
Yes, thank
no
you for your
problem.
patience.
I'm happy to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm thrilled to be here.
You just workshop this. So you have an interesting way of working. You do a number of workshops before
Yes.
you do the real shebang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I was developed so much of my work in the UK.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And you know, in the UK, there's the Edinburgh Fringe every year.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
And
Yeah.
so what comics do is we spend the year developing the show that we then take to the Edinburgh Fringe in August.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a real tradition of doing work in
process.
progress
Mhm.
shows.
Right.
An hour, maybe you do 20 minutes, maybe you do a half hour, even showing up with notes and getting up for
I
20
love
minutes
it.
on
Right.
stage.
Mhm.
Right.
So there's a real crowd of people who come and see that. There's a whole
So
infrastructure
you
for
build,
developing.
you build that way.
So I've learned to build that way.
Right.
And it's been frustrating for me here in the US because we don't have that same
It's
tradition.
right,
Right,
right.
So
right.
it's
To
hard
open
to
it
have
up.
places to develop work in front of an
Oh,
audience.
That's very,
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
but
They want to
that's-
buy their ticket, see the show, and
Right.
go on their way.
no, but that's very true because there's not really any place here to develop it in front of an audience.
That's right.
That
That's
is
right.
Absolutely.
And in
It's
stand-up,
got to be a finished product, polished. and
absolutely.
everything.
And in stand-up, you know, the work in the what they call new material nights or
Yeah.
open mics,
Yeah.
you only get 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, I'm just clearing my throat at 5
Right.
minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in the UK, there's much more of an audience for work that's in development, and there's
Uh-huh.
much more, at
And-
least in London. Well, actually throughout the UK, there's a lot of opportunity to do in development work.
Support. The audience comes, they know it's a work in
They know
progress,
it's
and they're
in
cool,
progress.
right? And that's
right.
really great for the artists because,
Because-
yeah, you can
and-
take their reactions.
Absolutely.
and-
Absolutely. You really
Yeah.
hone
Yeah.
the work.
Yeah,
hone
you
the
see what
show.
works.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
And particularly for Pangea, I didn't want to come here with something unfinished.
Right.
So
Uh-huh.
the guys here were really kind, and they allowed me to do these 3 workshop shows that I called Met Happening. And
And I saw one of them. It
And
was
you saw
wonderful.
one,
And
and-
the guys, Arnaldo and Steven, are amazing.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah,
They're the
the
best.
best.
and they and what I did, because I didn't have an hour show, I would do 15-minute moments, and then I would bring 2 guests in
I
who
think
each
that's
did
brilliant.
15
You had
minutes.
Penny Arcade
Uh-huh.
the night
We
I
had
was
Penny
here.
Arcade once.
And-
We had Drew Tessier, the stand-up comic
Right.
Uh-huh.
from Alabama.
Right.
He was here.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, we had Jaden Heather. She's a
Mhm.
brilliant cabaret singer. I had last week I had Calvin Cato, another stand-up comic.
Oh,
I
fabulous.
had David Carl and Katie Hartman, who are
Mhm.
a funny cabaret duo.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So I had lots of great guests, but then also it allowed me time to do my work as well and
Right.
develop it and sharpen it. And now I have enough material that now
Love
I'm
it.
just polishing for the show that opens the
Good.
21st of September.
Yes.
Now, you came here back from the UK when?
In February 23.
Okay, and I got to tell you, in that last year, how did you seem to know everybody and their mother? How did that happen? You mentioned his name. They're like, "Oh, we love David Mills." I'm like, "I just got on his radar. I know everybody. Tim knows everybody." How did that
A few,
happen?
a few things happened. I had been coming to Pangea for about 4 or 5 years,
Ah.
once a
Mhm.
year, and doing maybe 2 nights.
Oh, okay.
Right,
You
like a
made quite
weekend.
the
Uh-huh,
impression on
nice.
people.
Yeah.
So that I developed an audience. A lot of
Sure.
my friends and my extended friends and family in New York were able to come and build in that crowd. But then also, I met Penny Arcade
Right.
Oh,
at the
I
Edinburgh
love her.
Fringe in like 2016, something like that,
Mhm.
2017, 2018. something
And
like
you
that.
were living in London. at
I
the
was living in
Yeah.
London.
Okay.
We had met before, but she'd never really seen my work. And she saw my work and she was like,
Oh yeah, she's like that. She was just spot
you know,
on,
when she
yeah.
gets behind someone,
Yes. Yes.
it's life changing.
Uh-huh.
So she got behind me.
Fabulous.
And
I love
Wow.
it.
Put the word out.
Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Penny. The word went out and the audience arrived. You know?
Uh-huh.
And so they've been, and then people like Libby as well, who's been a big proponent.
She is.
And
Those
others.
gazillion people too.
Yeah, others, you know, put the word out and have been so supportive and kind, and that's kind of built a bit of a groundswell of support.
Right.
So I'm
Mhm.
grateful for that.
But you know, you keep going back to the comedy, which you are. You're a wonderful comedian, and you
Thank
have
you.
your own take on things.
Yeah.
But you sing as well,
Yeah.
and you're an actor
Yes.
as well. You're
Yes.
not run of the mill stand up. And when I watched you, I thought, oh my God, he's got something that's a little different to
Yeah.
offer. It's a little classy. It's a little highbrow.
Well,
That's the
You're a
London.
classy
that-
guy.
that's what I'm hoping. You know,
A
that's what I'm
little
hoping.
classy, a little.
You know, all my inspirations were, you know, people in the acts in the 70s who would wear a suit or a tux, or even someone
Yeah.
like Bob Newhart, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or John
yeah.
Rickles
Right.
or
Dean Martin.
Dean Martin.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right,
right.
those guys.
Also, I don't know if you know the Irish comic Dave Allen.
You opened for him.
Oh, no.
No, that was the other
that's
Irish
someone else.
comic. Yeah.
Uh,
Tell me about
But Dave
Allen.
Allen, it was in sort of the 70s, a big comic in the
Mhm.
70s in the UK, 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I'm not
And he
familiar.
would sit on a stool and he'd have a glass of bourbon or whatever, and he
Yeah,
would tell these stories with a cigarette.
Cigarette.
And he would tell these stories, and the whole nation was, I mean, everyone in the UK loved
Mesmerized,
him.
right?
Uh,
Very
super funny.
British.
Super,
Very
super funny.
British.
Always looking chic in a suit, on the stool, legs crossed. And I thought, growing up, I remember seeing it on PBS.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what it was. I was like mesmerized. And only years later, after I'd moved to the UK, did it pop up again. I was like, wait a minute, that's that guy I remember
Uh-huh.
from. I thought, you know what? That's the act right there.
Wow.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do that, but with my own kind of
It's
spin.
your own step.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
it was
bring
great.
music in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
which is really,
So
really great.
that's kind of taking someone's, not necessarily their style, but in a way, their style
Yeah,
from the past
It's-
and making
it's an
an
approach.
approach. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
what-
say
and making it your own.
I don't have a problem with
Absolutely.
stealing.
Oh my God, we say it at the
Uh-huh.
same time. Pinky swear.
I would say don't. The issue isn't stealing.
No,
You just
No.
got to steal from the right people.
yeah.
Right? Steal from good people.
Right, or-
All artists steal.
Right.
You know, and then
Yes,
of course you
right.
make it your own.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
but be inspired by the good people
Absolutely,
instead of being inspired by
absolutely.
garbage.
Being able to
Right.
connect to the sensibility of someone that you see and you're like, oh, I have elements
Right.
of that in myself.
Well,
You have to know yourself very
but
well.
that's
and
what
you're-
connection is.
I agree.
Connection isn't stealing.
Right.
It's resonating with.
I love that.
So
Right.
it brings something out in you when you are inspired by their work, even if
Right.
you are a little bit trying to be like them. If it really resonates with you, it's bringing something out of you.
Right.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Now your run of now I need help with the title. Glamour.
no.
No, no,
The
stay
new-
lost.
No,
Stay
no,
Lost.
in London.
Oh,
No. So I most recently in 2023 I had
Or
a
you
show.
right? You came
Yeah, and the
to
show
New York and did Glamour.
Glamour and Despair.
Glamour and Despair.
Yeah, and that
Yes.
ran here at Pangea for a number of months, 2 times a month. And then I took it back to London and I played the Crazy Cocks in London, which is
Oh,
a
yes,
fabulous
uh-huh.
venue.
what's it
Yes.
called? The Crazy Car?
Crazy
I
Cocks.
think Richard Skipper just played. here.
COQS,
Yes.
Oh,
like
okay,
Crazy-
right. It's
like the Crazy Chickens.
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Very chic. It's a little bit like going to the Cafe Carlisle. It's like
Oh my
that
goodness,
level,
right.
So I took it there. I was there for 2 nights in March, and then I took it to to Martuni's in San Francisco. I was there for one night. in June.
Nice.
And so I felt like I love that show, but it was sort of done.
Right.
So I wanted to bring something new,
Fresh,
Mhm.
you know, yeah.
something fresh.
So, tell us about Manhappening.
Happening? Well, those were the workshop shows.
And I saw
Yeah,
one of those,
yeah.
right, with Penny. That
With
was
Penny,
Manhappening.
That's right. And they were a lot of fun. And you know, the boys here, Stephen and Arnaldo, were really open to the idea of
Yeah.
having a development show. You know,
Yeah.
they love that idea, and they knew that there would be an audience. It's a sort of just a discrete audience, but there is an audience for people trying stuff out
Mhm.
in this room here.
Absolutely. That's not an open mic situation.
Not an open
right?
mic.
I love-
No, much more
Right.
curated
You're
than that, you know.
reinventing the field. I love
Yes,
that. It is
that's
well
fantastic.
curated.
It's much more curated than an open mic. Anyway, so that was great, and it really helped me develop all this material for Stay Lost.
Fabulous, which is, and the dates, I want to give them September 21st, 28th, October 19th, October 26th, November 16th, and November 23rd. My God, it's the fall. David
Don't say it. Don't
Mills.
say
Yeah,
it.
right? It's fall with
The
David.
fall of
Mills.
David Mills. That's that's the tagline. The fall of David Mills.
Say it, you did, and I love you that you know, because we have a warped sense of humor. I know yours is warped too. In this new show, I got the feeling from reading about it. It's a lot of it is about your frustrations with social media and the internet and the violence out there and all of it.
You-
Please expound on that.
Well, you know, I just want to be contemporary, and you know, I don't know what it is about me, but I'm inspired by darkness. Not
Mhm.
inspired by, but I can't turn away from it.
Okay,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't. So I want to remind people of our. I don't know, to resonate with people's more darker impulses. You
Mhm.
know, we have to keep those inside. We have to
Right,
those
Right.
away because
And
we got to
that's part of
exist in
life.
our society,
right,
right?
exactly.
I don't want to go out into a dark world, but they are there.
Right,
And there are things that are happening in our world which are sort of that can trigger that.
right.
So
Mhm.
I want to look at those triggers and look at those things so that we're aware when we're out in the world that those triggers are out there, and not to indulge that dark. I don't know. I'm just,
You're putting it in your work though, so in a way you're indulging it on a
but
stage.
in a safe way.
Right, in a safe
Right.
way. I love it, right?
Right. So we
in a
can
safe
look at
way.
it and hopefully laugh at it
Right.
Mhm.
and resonate with it, and not, you know, like I think of. I'm not really talking about January 6th, but I think of those people. I did a little bit of that stuff in Glamour and Despair, and how dark that was. And it's those people so violent, so terrifying,
Right,
and it's easy to really other them.
right.
I
Mhm.
certainly don't believe what they believe, and I don't I don't agree with what they did. But something inside, when I look at it, I can't help but say, I know something there, something in that.
Something triggered.
I can
Yeah.
understand that need to turn over the table,
Rage,
the rage.
right,
Actually,
yeah.
I know that as well.
Mhm.
So I want to show those moments and say, hey, those people aren't them, they're us too.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Right.
So I mean, I know this doesn't sound very entertaining.
No.
I think it's
Shoot
fabulous.
yourself down before you even get
Exactly.
I love your
Exactly.
hilarious.
You know, I try and make sure it's funny and also moving and all those things.
Which I
you
have
know.
to say that is a talent right there.
Yeah, I
To be
agree.
able to take a dark subject matter and make people laugh.
Yes.
That is a
Yes.
tightrope. It really is.
Well,
Yes.
it's Tim and I, we always discuss this. He's right. It's a tightrope, and politically correctness has really taken over. When I saw your workshop, I can't even remember there were a couple of things that I was like, ooh, she went there, where
Love
other
it.
people would not have done that. I can't remember what they are now,
Yes.
but
I have it in mind what you're
but
talking about.
really, I'm like, okay, and that's setting you apart from other people, which I think is a good thing.
See, that's entertainment. That's
I
comedy. That
agree.
is
We've
observational.
Yeah.
Observational, right,
Yes.
right.
Is being able to do that, and I'm so tired of political correctness.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the
Well,
world
then
is
you have
not
to have your
politically
you have to have
correct.
your muzzle on.
No,
Yeah,
and I
right.
think something that's greatly underrated in comedy is surprise.
Mm-hmm.
When you take people down a path and then you surprise them with
Yes.
something else.
Right.
Yes.
That to me is hilarious. That's so funny. You
Yeah.
know what
Right.
I mean? You upend the expectations.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes surprise means going into those areas that people aren't expecting
Right,
and
right.
are nervous of.
Absolutely.
But if they feel safe with you, hopefully they'll
Right.
go there and laugh.
Or not,
They'll
you're taking
Not
the
as
risk.
well.
they'll enjoy the
You don't
journey.
want that, but right, they'll enjoy the journey, and you, as the talent, are taking the risk, and good for you.
Yeah.
I think what Tim and I were talking about with this political correctness, it makes you a little bit fearful, thinking twice
Right.
about taking the risk. Lord knows, and I do my best with pronouns, but every now and then I get pushed too far with pronouns,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not they, it's yous. I grew up in the Bronx. and we call
Use guys.
So we're using
Guys,
use
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Push you to the brink, and at what point, like,
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
I know it's a very confusing time.
It's a
and-
confusing time.
And it's confusing at our generation,
Right.
is in
Yes.
a confused place.
Yes.
I think every generation, when they get to this stage, looks back at the world and says, oh God, it's much more confusing than I remember
Very
it to
true.
be,
Right.
Very true.
So that partially it's about our generation and partially it's about the moment as well.
Right.
But I just think, like, I'm fucking 56 years old. I've
Generation, I love him already. Oh my God. I love David Mills. Come see his show.
I just feel like, like what's gonna happen to me? Who's gonna cancel me from what?
Right,
like
right,
exactly
so
right.
I'm gonna say it if people disagree or if they walk out or if they get angry, if they say shit on Facebook. You know what?
So what?
Oh well.
So what?
Yeah.
Oh well. I mean, I'm not gonna go out and make an effort to try and offend people.
Right.
And I think that there's a difference between those people, those
Yes,
acts and
right.
performers who are trying to offend
Absolutely.
and those who offend in the process of trying to say something else.
Uh-huh, right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
No,
Now
you-
we have a clip here. Do you know which clip that is that we're going to be showing?
Yeah,
I think
your
it's-
performance clip.
I think it's when I was at the Broadway Comedy Club
Yeah.
a few months
Doing-
ago, doing stand-up.
Yeah.
But my
Okay.
stand-up
Stand-up.
is not the normal kind of
Okay.
stand-up.
It's
Well,
fine.
let's-
It's stand
yeah,
up. It
Let's
was
take
good.
a look
Okay.
at some stand-up from David Mills.
Yes.
No, I love it. I'm in New York going to see all the shows. I got tickets for the hottest show in New York. I'm so excited. You've probably seen it, yeah? Shen Yun. Can't wait. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. You see it, right? You see Shen Yun, right? I love a long sleeve. You know what I mean? Shen Yun. Shen Yun. I love it. I love it. It's the Chinese Rockettes. Dynamite. Dynamite. You know what I'm talking about, right? A lot of people don't know. It's the Falun Gong, right? It's the Falun Gong. They're like a sect of the Chinese. They're like a sect. They've been thrown out of China, and they're super anti Communist Party, but they're pro-Trump, and they're super anti-gay, right? Which, I don't know, someone ought to tell their admin, because look at that, you know, right? Have you seen the posters? It looks like Drag Race Beijing, you know? I love it. Oh, here's one. Have you been now, Taurus? You ready for this? You've been, right? You're a New Yorker. Here's gonna blow your mind. Italy. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You ready for this? You ready for this? You ready?
And we're back.
So you have, gosh, thank you for.
I love
going
it.
with the flow
I
today.
love it.
I love you to death. You have no idea
No,
but
it's-
this today. You have influences in your comedy. You've referenced Sandra Bernhard,
Yeah.
Eric
Mhm.
Bogosian, who I love, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
Take us through. Let's start with Eric, because he's I think the most outlandish of all
Iconic.
of them.
Totally
Iconic.
iconic.
I
I mean,
love that.
this in Stay Lost more than ever. I'm really looking back to that '90s era of New York solo performance. Those
Mhm.
people like
Yeah.
Eric Bogosian,
Yeah.
like Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
They weren't stand up. They weren't. It wasn't quite
Right.
like they weren't like a drama. They were solo performance, really trying
Yeah.
a new kind of. Spalding Gray was.
Spalding Gray would
one of the
be another
greats.
one.
kind
Right.
of a performance art
Kind of a
with comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It wasn't alienating.
Right.
But at the same time, it wasn't like you know, like a one-person show where they're playing multiple characters. Even if they
Right.
may have played multiple
Right,
characters,
right.
it wasn't like a huge production.
Right.
Mhm.
Whoopi Goldberg, she'd throw it
Sure.
whatever her head, and that was it.
That
You
was-
know?
But that's
Right.
all
And
she
that's a
needed
whole
to
new,
do,
a whole
right.
different character.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Sandra
Right.
Bernhard was the same.
Yeah.
And of course, Penny Arcade.
Right. Yeah, I was
Right?
gonna
Who's,
reference Penny
You
as
know,
well. Yeah.
at the core of all this. So I have been so inspired by looking back at that stuff and the kind of grit of it and the bravery and risk
Mhm.
that they were taking at the time, and trying to really use that form much more in Stay Lost than what would normally be my more sort of stand-up form.
Right.
Right. So of course there will be stand-up woven in, but I expect this sort of more character-driven kind of monologue-y kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Stream of
Mhm.
consciousness. with
Now-
the character.
Bit more directed than that.
Okay.
Not so much
Uh-huh.
stream of consciousness, but different characters that could all be me.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
Right. Not
Right.
like I'm not like a Southern Belle, you know, but it's David Mills. But now all of a sudden I'm this, and then wait a minute, now I'm sort of that,
Uh-huh.
you know,
But it's the
And
David
giving
Mills version
and giving
of it.
but giving a
Exactly.
perspective through that
Right.
through that
character.
through that
It's
character.
funny because we were
Now-
talking about Tammy Faye, and that's exactly what she does.
He
that
does that
she
too.
right, she does that too.
Yeah.
It's a really brilliant way to work.
Now
if you can work that way.
now your process, the process of doing this, do you get like an inspiration, like something might happen or you see something on the news and you're like, that's the basis, I can unfold from there? Or
Yeah.
do you have a specific process, or is it different each time?
It's, you know, I wish it were systematic. It's fairly random.
Mhm.
It can be, I can be inspired by a conversation or a phrase or
Mhm.
something I overhear.
Uh-huh.
But I more than that, I try and go kind of macro and look at
I like that.
what I'm seeing around me and the patterns and the phenomena around me
Mhm.
and the world, without getting into like the nitty-gritty of politics.
Right.
I
right.
think there are bigger, broader sort of political things I can talk
Mhm.
about without talking about Harris versus Trump.
Right.
Right.
I mean, if you imagine, these shows are in September, October, and November, so we are going to
You're-
be
you're right in it.
Right.
right.
You don't you think you have to talk about the election in some way?
I think that's the point. I
Yeah,
want
what's
to
the
talk
way?
more macro,
Macro,
than
yeah, the macro.
specific.
More
Yeah.
about society as in
How did we get
general.
here,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Why are
And
we
what
here?
the hell are
What the
people
hell?
thinking?
Exactly, as opposed to
What-
like, you know, will North Carolina go blue?
Right,
You know,
exactly.
that, or
exactly.
what happened that week
Uh-huh.
between, you know, something Trump said, or you know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
I think all that comedy dates so quickly,
Mhm.
and-
I agree with you.
and
absolutely.
I feel like it feels a little bit rah,
Right,
you know,
exactly,
and I don't want to be
exactly.
that comic. I
This
want,
team and that team.
yeah, I want to
Uh-huh.
be a bit, you know, bigger vision, you
Mhm.
know, try and see bigger trends
Now, so you
if I
spent
can.
so you spent time in
You-
London. What is your impression of American society right now.
Yeah. That's
You said it all right there.
the elephant in the room out.
Oh my God, I think that's my phone call. Someone's
Yeah.
calling me.
I gotta go.
Gotta go.
Gotta go now.
That must be my taxi.
Limo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so inspired being here in New York and being back in the US. I was
Mhm.
in London for 23 years. And so
Because that would give you a different perspective.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Their
from-
house and their sense
from
of
Europe.
humor is so
Yeah.
different over there.
So
yeah,
uh-huh.
I love it over there and I love it here. I feel
Mhm.
like one of the things that strikes me that's very different about, let's just say, New York and London as opposed to
Yeah.
Mhm.
bigger societal stuff. I think both are diverse. New York is diverse in a very, very different way, and a much more visibly diverse.
Mhm.
London, a lot of the diversity is European, so
Mhm.
you can't necessarily see it, right?
Mhm.
Polish people or
Right.
Romanian
You're right.
people,
From all over
and,
Europe.
yeah, they could be.
Yeah.
The difference is London is more international.
Right. Uh-huh.
New York feels more diverse,
Right.
but mostly pretty much American. Even the international people who come here are
Right.
very quickly
They're very
sort of like
Americanized.
adapt.
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Whereas in London, it does feel like people come from around the world and they stay much more their thing.
Mhm.
You know what
They
I mean?
bring their culture. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels more. People aren't looking to integrate into the English way so
Right.
much.
Uh-huh.
But maybe it's easier because they're on the continent, right? Not to dilute. You come here, you're in
Exactly.
this
Exactly. You're in a much more of a. I mean, that's
Well-
an island, but this is a much bigger sort of island. There,
Right.
You're closer to your actual country.
I was
Your
just going to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
because in Europe, you go 1,000 miles this way, you're in a completely different language, different culture, different a
right.
different country, and then 1,000 miles further, it's another completely different
Yes.
language and different culture. So
Yes.
they're used to having that cultural diversity.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that contributes to that. Whereas here in New York, you go 1,000 miles one way, it's still English speaking, still the same culture. 1,000 miles south, still English speaking, still
exactly.
culture.
Right.
Exactly.
So yeah,
I found
that
that to
does make
be
sense.
very interesting. I think of it, I see it a lot in the stand-up rooms. Stand-up I found to be very conservative in the US. I can't tell you how regularly I go to conventional stand-up shows and everyone on the bill is male.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's-
Yeah.
I do comedy. I can
It's-
tell you that. And
It's so surprising.
and they want a certain kind of thing. But then again, you have comics like the Whoopi Goldbergs, the Sandra Bernhardts,
Plenty.
right.
Mhm.
Not
Plenty.
enough, but
Not
in
enough.
in the regular regime of stand-up, you're absolutely right.
I'm sort of, for example, there's a comedy club that I do regularly, and the guy who runs it, super nice guy, he puts out a little flyer every weekend. And let's say I'll do it,
Are you allowed to say what it is? the
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
Anyway, so he'll put my image on it and then the other images of the other comics playing that weekend. And he'll send it to me and say, "Oh, put this out on social media." And I won't put it out because every single
male.
face is
Right.
male
Right.
and maybe
Wow.
one person of color. I mean, you simply in London,
You would not
you
do
just
that.
can't get away with that
Right,
anymore.
Right.
There
Right.
was a moment, and I remember it was in the 2000s. I remember when it broke, and there was a big conversation in the comedy world. Why aren't there more women? I mean, we knew all these women comics. Why weren't they getting work?
And they were funny.
Yeah, and now I can gig in London, and I can be the only man on
Mm.
the bill.
And that's
know what I mean?
interesting
That's not
that they
unusual.
moved ahead that
Right.
way and
Yeah.
we're still stuck.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that I think out in Brooklyn it's different, and I think Brooklyn is a different
Well,
scene than
they're
Manhattan.
they're moving.
They're moving
faster.
further along that
Yes.
line.
Yes.
But
yes.
Manhattan has surprised me.
We have
that-
all these comedy clubs here. You're right.
Right.
And Brooklyn, to
true.
your point, they're younger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It is younger.
Women
Yeah.
of a certain age that I know here that are comics, it's very frustrating. Although you do see people like Bridget Everett,
Of course.
right, got a
course.
big break.
course,
She's
of course.
she's on television.
but I'm talking more about the conventional club
Right,
scene.
right. The
The
club scene.
because even Bridget
absolutely.
Everett
yes.
really happened at Joe's Pub, and it's a little bit more unconventional.
I know.
venue, right?
Though she wasn't, she would stand there in her underwear, and my friend Sweetie said, "You got to see
Amazing.
this woman," and she was freaking hilarious. And she just kept pushing the envelope, boom. Then she was at Joe's Pub. And then, of course, she got picked up for
Well,
television. She's brilliant.
Do you,
yeah,
because
really
one
great.
thing I find is there's so many that again kind of fall into that groove. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be male
Right,
and you're
right,
supposed
right,
to act this
right.
way and you're supposed, but I get so tired so much of the time that so many of the comics out there are exactly the same.
Well,
I
this
would
is-
want, I would think
exactly.
you would want to do what you're
I
doing
agree.
and
Right.
present something.
I agree. Like I think they're just not paying attention to their audience. Like, you've got women in your audience, you've got men in your audience who want a different perspective. But the other thing that is really true, particularly about the stand-up world, and I know this doesn't exactly relate to cabaret and the kind of work I'm doing here, is frankly, the clubs don't even matter anymore.
Not like they did.
No,
right?
no. People are building on social media,
Yeah,
building
right.
their own audience.
Point.
They don't need the clubs.
Right.
They
right.
don't. They're building their own
It's a whole other
tours.
direction. TikTok.
Yeah, TikToks.
Yeah.
They're like some club booker. They don't even want to go to the club. They don't care what the clubs are
Exactly.
doing. You
Well,
don't need
again,
it.
and that falls true with theater, with
All of it.
everything,
Absolutely.
is to
All of
get
it.
people to get up off their sofa, put clothes on,
Yeah.
walk out the door and go to a club or a theater or something like that is getting more and more difficult to do
Yeah.
because of, right,
dollars in New York.
because of
Yes.
social media,
Right.
which has been a plus and a minus in a way,
Yeah.
in many different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah. I know for a stand-up or any kind of solo performer, when you build that social media audience, that audience is hungry to see you live.
Yes,
often.
Right.
yes.
And I think the challenge with theater is because that's still contained in a space. It's much
Mhm.
harder. Those
Yes.
performers could
Absolutely.
say, "Hey, let's go meet in the park, and everyone pay me $5 and I'll perform there." And their audience will. But it's different if you're like a director and you're doing a script and that kind of
Right.
thing. It's much harder to get people out
Mhm.
than maybe
Absolutely.
it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say this as someone who puts almost no energy into social media. You know what I mean? So
That is-
that's why I'm grateful for you two doing this. I put in the word.
Yeah,
out.
you're on social media now.
Social media. Look at that with StreamYard today. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
right.
But you have a very good point about the social media thing. However, don't you skewer it a little bit in your new show?
Oh yeah.
I
Good.
love it.
Oh,
Good.
yeah. Yeah. I
Good.
also
That's it.
am totally despairing of what we're
Right.
we're
What have
losing.
we
you know?
become?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
What have we
our
become?
humanity is suffering because
Absolutely.
it's all right here. It's all on
Right.
the phone. It's all constant.
And my
See,
own
so many
my own addiction. Totally
Uh-huh.
addicted. I'm missing my phone right now. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? I'm like looking at it
Yeah.
over there, thinking, I wonder what's happening over there.
Are you on OnlyFans?
I am not yet. Not yet.
Wait, will be,
Yeah, listen, I got to do something.
But
Anyway,
Residency here at Pangea, I say get a
One of the-
residency on OnlyFans.
OnlyFans
But
is next.
one of the things, like when we were growing up, we had available to us for information was CBS, NBC, ABC. That was basically it.
Right.
And so the
right,
entire country was listening to the same thing. We were listening to
Right.
the same music, the same
Right.
panels,
right.
the same, all of this. Now it's so splintered that you select what stimuli you're going to
That's right.
ingest. And so no two people anymore are listening to the same thing.
We're
Right.
getting the
And
same
that's what-
information.
Right.
Yeah,
And you could, whatever satisfies your narrative, you can find something out there
Yeah.
online that will match that.
Right.
And that's a frightening thought, that just with misinformation alone.
Yeah. I think all the more reason for me to try and, or for not just me, but all the more reason I want to not get too specific into kind of the nitty gritty of politics and
Mhm.
more kind of try and talk about things that everyone can relate to, regardless of which stream they're paying attention.
Right.
Right.
Right. The issues of social media are macro as
Mhm.
opposed to what the actual content is.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's, of course, I also dip into that kind of stuff and talk about that too. But hopefully that the show will leave people with more of a thinking about bigger issues than kind of,
Oh, yeah. No, I know you like to get people's wheels turning.
yeah.
Have you always been like that?
I don't know.
David Mills is a wheel turner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just want to talk about what I'm interested in.
Right.
You know.
How did you
So
get
when,
started
yeah,
doing
how
all of
did you,
this? Yeah.
how did you
With your
find
story,
this?
Morning Glory.
Oh gosh. Well, I just always was wanting to be an actor and a performer and be on stage and all that, and did theater growing up and studied acting in college, and that was in San Diego. Then I was doing like little theater bits and pieces in the San Diego theater world. And then I started writing these little monologues and performing little monologues inspired by that 90s era, the Eric Bogosians,
Right.
Tim Millers. of the
It
world,
obviously
like that.
made an impact on
And
you.
did you perform that in San Diego?
I did, yeah. That's where I
Okay.
started, and then I took that up to San Francisco and moved to San Francisco and was doing that, and then I brought in
Wonderful.
the stand-up comedy angle, and then went to London, and no, actually came to New York, was here for about 18 months, did a little bit here, but then went to London and really stopped for about 8 years. Just
Wow.
it was just overwhelmed and just couldn't really perform or anything. But after about 8 years, I got back to it, and then really jumped into a sort of professional world as a stand-up comic.
When you jumped back in. But what was the 8 years? What made you stop? Was something had pivotal?
I
happened in
had
your life?
moved to New York, and I developed a kind of reputation in San Francisco and was doing really well. And I kind of, with a big flourish, said, I'm leaving San Francisco, I'm moving to New York to be a star. And I went to New York, and I found I was a very small fish in a very big pond.
Yes, and that's starting over.
And it
thing,
really
right.
drew me.
Felt like a guppy.
It's a lot.
I felt like a guppy. So,
And speaking of feeling like a guppy, Cameron just dinged me and said we have 3 minutes
Oh,
left.
Just,
So-
no, I'm
Okay.
keeping
and
time.
he
Yeah.
told me 3 minute, I can't believe
3
it.
minute warning.
It's our 3 minute warning. What are you
Yes,
going to
yeah.
tell everybody in your last 3 minutes?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Come to the show.
Come to the show, right?
Stay Lost. It's called Stay Lost. You can find me on my Instagram at David Mills DEPT, like David Mills Department. And you can also follow my Substack, which is called Quality Time with David Mills.
Yeah, that's your blog.
That's my blog.
Yeah, your blog,
Yeah.
right?
And so that gives information about my shows as well, and where I'm performing next. And thank you both so much for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Well, listen, your show is going to be here at Pangea. Can you give us the dates again?
Yes, we have the dates right
It's
here.
the 21st and 28th of September.
Okay.
And then the 19th
Yep.
and 26th of October.
And then
then
the
the
November
16th
16th and November 23rd.
Yeah.
Right before you have your turkey, you can have David Mills. How about
Yeah.
that?
But
And then I'm also in London on the 10th and 11th of November.
you-
So I take it there as well.
Oh,
before I go out here.
nice.
That's
Okay.
great. And you've never played anywhere else in Europe, like
Oh, yeah.
France or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And
so-
Paris and,
So you, yeah.
Norway.
Oh, they would love it. Yeah,
Switzerland,
they would
Nice,
totally.
yeah.
Do you speak other languages?
A little bit of Spanish, but
But that's
I wouldn't
it.
want to perform in Spanish.
No, right?
That's Esperanto.
That's Toronto.
Now, can you give everybody your
Handle,
how to reach you?
your handles.
At David Mills Department, David Mills DEPT on Instagram and Twitter as well. And those are the best.
Fabulous.
The best.
Thank you, everybody, for joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you.
It was a little fakakta, but you know what?
We made it.
We go with the flow and our hearts were in the right place. Come see this guy at Pangea. He's fabulous. See you all next week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so
Bye-bye.
much.